So for a metaphor, I chose the idea of catching butterflies because since my senior year, I wanted to do something that wasn't too cliche, but I also wanted to do something that I did as a kid. I kind of wanted to tie something back to my childhood, and that was something that I attempted a lot as a kid, but was never successful in. And I think that was a lot of high school for me, and also it's a lot of nature, which I'm gonna get into in a bit. So I wanted to do something that, I want something that's very impossible and temporary, and I felt that really encapsulated that really well. So my first point basically was that I kind of compared the concept of me trying to catch them and store them in jars, because that was ultimately my goal, and how I kind of wanted to do, and how I felt that I kind of stored myself. I labeled myself and put myself in boxes, which I know can be very cliche, but I honestly feel like I like the idea of a glass jar because it's like everyone's watching you, but at the same time you're confined by a lid, you know? So that was really important to me to kind of relate that to also nature, because I feel like a lot of people look at nature as it's for the consumption of others, for mankind, for all of us, but it's not. It doesn't have our society's interest in mind, you know? Nature is gonna do what it needs to do in order to survive and thrive, and if that isn't the best interests of mankind, that doesn't matter, which is how I kind of tied in West with the Night, because she understood that, Markham, and she knew that you can't look to nature as a form of, someone that's going to help you. But that's where, in my opinion, Fawcett and McCandless were wrong, because they turn to nature as forms of both ownership and trying to understand. And nature is not a form of, you can't, turn to it in order to better understand yourself, because it's not created for us, just like unlike any other product that is marketed toward us. And the idea of ownership was one that I really wanted to get into, because as a kid I felt I needed those butterflies, they were mine, and as a society we feel that nature is ours. It's like, oh, it's just so nice to get to go on this great camping trip or whatnot. I feel that so much of society is surrounded around ownership, and we feel like things belong to us, but in reality, and especially with nature, that's really not the case. So I really want to talk about that. And at the end of the day, the butterflies weren't mine. They're meant to migrate from Canada to Mexico, and they're also deceptive. I always wanted to catch a monarch butterfly, but they're not actually monarch butterflies. They're viceroy butterflies, which I thought was really interesting. So those are some of the ideas that I tied into my essay, and I thought really encapsulated both my 4 years and nature, while at the same time bringing in all the 4 different characters that I want to talk about.